Welcome to the Gamecast. This is Mark, your host from Pix in Motion, joined by Greg from Pixel Play Cafe. Today's podcast starts a new mini-series where we cover launch titles. And today's game that we're going to start it with is Resistance: Fall of Man on the PlayStation 3. Kind of hard to believe that this came out in 2006.
Yeah, it's still pretty good though.
Yeah, so how about we get into that then?
Okay, well, I gotta say the game is super basic.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's fun, but it's very basic, right down to the graphics and everything. It just doesn't look what I consider to be like next gen.
Yeah, for the time, yeah.
Yeah, like I kept thinking as I was playing, like this is like a really good upscaled PS2 game, with the exception of the character models, like the enemy models specifically. They look really good, but
Still kind of look pretty decent, actually.
yeah, those enemies, they look great, but it's everything else, literally, like the environments, all the other human characters.
The
They all
textures.
look, yeah, definitely the textures. They all look like a PS2 game being upscaled to 720p, and I guess it makes for like a clean look, but it's not especially uh, impressive, I suppose.
For me, when it first came out, I was actually pretty excited to buy it, and I got it. I didn't get a PS3 until 2009 or so. I got a PS3 to get Uncharted 2, so it was around that time when I got Resistance, and I was actually disappointed.
Yeah,
Visually, I thought it was lacking big time. Now I realize it's a launch title, and they didn't really know the system that well yet, and with the way that it was difficult to program for, it's kind of understandable. But visually, if you look at other launch titles, there's other ones that look better, like far better.
yeah, I agree. That was one of the biggest letdowns for me, but I gotta say, I've had the game for a few years, but I only for this podcast sat down. This is like the first time I really sat down and played the game, and it's really fun. Like they nailed a lot of it.
I can agree with that. It's even though it's basic, by nature, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't hold it down in any way. Like if they were trying to create something new and then it sucked.
Yeah,
You know.
they well,
It does have some kick-ass weapons, though.
yeah, it actually had has a really cool narrative and everything too. Like the alternate history thing really gets me. I like that idea.
Yeah, it's almost like coming straight out of History Channel or something. The way they do it, it's pretty cool.
Yep, it's pretty awesome. The weapons, I gotta say, they don't stand out as much to me as unique, but they feel really good. Like when you go from like a assault rifle to a shotgun or whatever, it feels significant. Like a lot of shooters out there, it kind of feels like you're just shooting like BBs or something, and it just
Yeah,
doesn't have an impact. But I gotta say, in Resistance, it really feels punchy when you shoot your guns. So I definitely like that too.
while we're on the topic of guns, I don't know the names of everything, but there's that one that you can shoot like I want to say it's like a target or a homing beacon, and then the bullets will automatically go
Yeah.
to where that target is at. That one's pretty awesome because you could shoot around corners and stuff. That was a pretty neat thing to have.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I did get that one. I don't think I got many of the other fancy weapons because I just didn't have the time to play farther. But I did find it strange, though, in the time I did have to play, that like some of the levels literally just end with like out of nowhere. It's just you turn the corner and it just fades, and it's a story sequence. Next thing you know, you're starting the next level.
Yeah, that's pretty common throughout the whole game, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
kind of feels weird.
I don't know. I kind of think though that because the PS3's RAM is divided and quite frankly not that big, I think that's their way of loading without loading.
Yeah, it could be, and you don't ever see a loading screen, and that's nice. So,
Yeah.
The controls, I know that's something we had mentioned to each other previously.
Yeah.
Um, It's weird because when I first played this game, when I first bought it, I popped it in just to make sure it was going to work and everything, and it felt off. But when I went to play it for this podcast, it actually feels totally fine to me now. I don't know what changed, but it feels tight and responsive. Now, being PS3, those analog sticks aren't great for shooters, in my opinion. So
No, not really.
the up and down, the vertical movements always mess me up with that right stick. It always feels wrong. So I did find myself kind of like putting the cursor where I wanted it and just moving my entire character where I needed to go and turning, kind of pivoting around enemies rather than trying to aim upward at one if I could avoid it. But it did feel pretty tight other than that little nitpick.
Well, all I had to do is change the sensitivity and make it inverted because I play inverted.
What? Wow, not me. I gave that up a long time ago.
I'm not the only one. I mean, I've got a few friends that do it, but the thing is at least when I was younger, flew model airplanes a lot, and the joystick on your remote, if you were to press up, well, your plane's going down.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, it's always like a jet, or if you're flying an airplane, pull towards you to go up. And in this case, when you're pulling the stick towards you, you're pushing it down.
Yeah.
So that's always just been how it, for me, how it's been.
Well,
but this game, has those, plenty of options to choose and tweak and whatever. So eventually your controls can be how you want it.
Now, did you notice how the way the action plays out in this? It feels a lot like Call of Duty.
It actually a lot like it. And the thing is when this game came out, Call of Duty, I mean, yeah, it had come out already, but it wasn't as huge.
Yeah.
Not until Modern Warfare 2, I believe, when it really started to
Modern
explode.
Warfare 1 is where it exploded for sure. Modern Warfare 2 was bigger, but Modern Warfare 1 was the beginning.
I suppose, yeah.
Like, there was the earlier Call of Duties, the World War II games prior to Call of Duty 4. But
yeah,
it was Modern Warfare 1. It was like the start of the reign of Call of Duty.
Yeah, and all the little kids with
and this
it.
came out a year before that, so that's actually really impressive. Though you could say that the game Black on the PS2 and Xbox did it very similarly as well.
Yeah.
The only real nitpick I guess I have, other than like the PS2 like graphics, is the animation looks like it's really ripped right out of Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, to be honest, in some
Yeah,
cases.
just the way the characters would move around and turn their heads and stuff, it looks very cartoony, and it kind of clashes with the rest of the look of the game.
Um, let's see. I'm looking here. Let's see here. Well, we know it's developed by the same developers, Insomniac.
Yep.
So, and you know what? When it comes to game development, if you can reuse assets, in this case, it could be animations, because you can copy that and tweak it. Why not? Because you're going to save
Mhm.
time. And who knows what the budget was on this game.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kind of
yeah. It's not a whole lot here on the Wikipedia.
it's kind of interesting to think too that this game was Sony's launch first-person shooter, and Microsoft also had one, which we'll cover later. And they're quite different from one another. But this is the one that spawned a couple sequels, whereas Microsoft's not so much.
Yeah, kind of was a fizzle.
Yeah, it was actually Resistance 2 is the one that got me interested in the series, because like you, I didn't get my PS3 until later on. And it's probably 09 also, actually. It was after the Slim came out. I remember seeing footage on like IGN or something of Resistance 2, and all I remember from the footage was these rolling clouds, and it looked just amazing. And we're talking about clouds. But it looks so good, and I was like, man, this game looks great. And I was like, I guess I'm gonna have to get a PS3 for it. And interestingly enough, Resistance 2 is the last game I was able to get in the series, which I just got in like the last year or so. So
oh, jeez. Now you don't have the third one?
I do.
Or,
I got the first game, and then I found the third game, and it just took longer to find the second game. Apparently, I even got the Vita game before the second game. So,
oh wow,
I don't know.
Okay.
Like, I've been waiting to play them until I could have them all, so I could play in order. So, it kind of worked out.
I think there's another
Vita,
one too,
or
which
PSP.
is for the PS. Yeah, but it's I think it's third person.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a PSP, so that one will have to wait.
Yeah. But the second one fixed so many flaws that the first game has. So, like visuals and stuff, it's definitely not an up-res PS2 game by any means.
And this very well may have actually been a up-res PS2 game, being a launch title. You have to wonder sometimes when you see these launch titles, were they in development for the previous system and just being ported over? Because we're going to see some of that in the next few videos, guaranteed. But it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, seeing the history of the game here for development, they don't have a whole lot. I wish we could find some more, but it is what it is.
Yep.
Because I bet you that it was a PS2 game from in the beginning.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. Be interesting to see whatever happened to Resistance.
Yeah, definitely. Now let me ask you this though. What's your thought on the sound effects?
Well, nothing stood out as bad. I mean, some of it was okay. It's just kind of generic. There's one part of the sound design in general that caught my attention, and I looked it up because I had a feeling, and that's when you're on the pause screen of all places. This game and all about its little subtleties that seem to impress me somehow. But on the pause screen, you'll hear beeping, which just happens to be actual Morse code. And
Oh,
when translated, depending on the level you're on, it'll say different things. Like on one level, it'll say red forces encountered, non-uniform opposition confirmed. Another thing it might say is biological attack imminent. Stand down. Observe any resistance. And this is all in the Morse code on the pause screen, depending on the level you're on.
so you
I
research
I
that, or
actually
did you figure
found
it out?
I went online. I don't know Morse code. I went online. I looked it up to see if I was just imagining things or if this was a real thing that they put into the game as like a little Easter egg. And sure enough, Easter egg it is.
Wow. Because I heard that, I wasn't thinking
Yeah,
about that, and that makes sense, being a kind of a World War II era type
yeah,
game, or technically right after
yeah.
World
It's
War
really
II.
cool. It kind of adds another layer to the authenticity of the story, I guess.
Yeah, that's actually pretty
Yeah,
cool.
and there's like dozens of these from the looks of it. Every level you're on, the Morse code says something different.
I wonder if it even matters based on where you're at
I
in the
don't know.
level.
It kind of looks like
Like maybe they have it zoned.
it, honestly, because on this list it's broken down like London, and then under London it says a desperate gamble, and then it shows the two messages you could get there, and then there's another. It says ice and iron, and there's another pause screen message there, and then it moves on to Thames, the level Thames. So I think there is, yeah. There's definitely multiples. It
That's
is.
pretty cool. It's not something you
No,
encounter really.
but that team is not adverse to details. It was them recently that made Spider-Man, right, on PS4. So
Yeah. God, I haven't actually played
yeah,
it
that's the
yet,
one game I've ever
unfortunately.
rented from Redbox because I wanted to play it. I just wanted to know what it felt like, and it's awesome. So
I might need
and
to
it's
do that
gorgeous.
myself.
So yeah, Resistance Fall, man, pretty awesome game. You can probably find it for like $8. I'm assuming $8 to $10.
More or less.
It's
Yeah.
definitely worth picking up. I think it's just keep your expectations low when it comes to graphics because they're not the greatest, but they could be worse.
Yeah, there's actually, because I don't know how far you got. Um, I played it for a few hours, getting footage, and I figured I'll jump around or whatever when I edit. But some of the later levels actually look pretty dang good compared to the
Hmm.
beginning. So you could tell that as they were progressing through the pipeline, it's almost as if they got better
Yeah.
at it.
Well, I only played to the area where the humans were being abducted and taken to be converted, and
Okay.
I stopped
Yeah.
pretty much somewhere in that level.
Yeah, that's not too bad though. That's decent. Um, decent amount of
Yep.
going through it. But back in the day, I completed the game, and it was. I think it was probably my mistake because I played it after I played Uncharted
Uh
2, and that game, at the time was just like holy grail
yeah.
for PS3, and I think that could have been my issue because playing it recently for this, I actually was getting into it again, and it's like, that's I should probably just
Yep.
keep on playing and give it another chance because it's pretty good. But other than that, I think I'm good on the subject. Other than for me, visually, it just was kind of a
Yeah.
letdown a little bit.
It definitely
Um,
has kind of renewed my interest in the series. Like I kind of want to go and finish this game and then move on to the next and the next and next.
Yeah, no, I I agree 100% there. Me too. And I will tell you, because I've played all three, the third one is fantastic. Um, it's a little different, but visually, it's really good. So when you get to that, you'll see what I mean. It's like the difference between 1 and 2 was like, okay, 2 is where the 1 should have been, and then the differences between 2 and 3 are
Yeah.
mind-boggling. They I don't know what they did to reach that level, but it's
Yeah.
way better.
I imagine it kind of moves along a progression similar to like Killzone 1, 2, and 3. Yeah.
Visually, yeah. Yeah,
Aside
I'd
from
say.
Killzone
Well,
actually being on a PS2, not a PS3.
yeah. Although the difference between Killzone 1 and 2 was
Yeah.
kind of mind-boggling. But yeah, it's good. And it's a good series to get. Any collector should have it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So, but I think I'm good, and tune in, next time, because we're going to be talking about, a launch title from the 360, which I don't think that got much credit from back in the day, to be honest. Cameo. That's going to be
Yep.
a good one, I think.
All right. Well, I have nothing left to say on Resistance other than go buy it.
Yeah,
Yep.
for cheap. All right. We'll talk to you later. Have fun, guys.